Good morning. I'm Mike Lepore, owner of The Talking Camera, and this is The Morning Cup, a show sponsored by Recess Coffee. And today we have an amazing show. We have Lynea Daprix, owner of Daprix Photography and The Wedding Talk. So, Lynea, tell us about Daprix Photography and The Wedding Talk. How long have you been in the industry? Tell us it all.
My photography business, I'm coming up on 3 years, so it's been a little bit of a time. My wedding planning business has been under a year. This is my first year really kind of going balls to the wall with wedding planning and event planning and social media influencing, all that kind of stuff. So,
wow. So, I mean, what's your journey to this point? Like, how did you get to here?
Have you ever seen anybody ride a unicycle for the first time? Because that's the first thing that comes into my head when you ask this question, is me like pedaling as fast as I can and zigzagging all over the place and almost falling and breaking my face.
I've never seen someone first time unicycling ride it immediately. So that alone is impressive.
Yeah, but we're pedaling, and eventually we're vertical, and our arms are up in the air, and we're saying ta-da, but there's still also the threat that I might fall on my face. So that's really the journey analogy for
So,
you.
like, photography was always it, or was there something else?
No, there was everything. I am really the definition of throwing everything against the wall and seeing what would stick. I've been a dancer, a model, an actress. I've been an exterior painter. I have been a janitor. I've been, oh my goodness, a writer, an illustrator, the freelancer in literally everything.
You've done it all.
I've director. I don't know. I've done so much stuff.
She's done it all. And everything she touches, like, I've watched her growth, and everything she touches is amazing. So tell us, what was your aha moment that you knew that this was your path? And you were just like, that's it.
You know, do you know the Ikigai Japanese culture circle chart, where it's like what you love to do, what you're good at, what people need in the world, and what makes you money, and it's like a little kind of circle in the middle. Everything that I've done up to this point has filled one or maybe two of those circles. And it wasn't until I started doing all the social media stuff with weddings, and I'm like, I'm having fun, and this is making money, and people are caring about it and needing it, and I'm like, oh my God, okay, we're here, and we're doing it. So it's been like a collection of moments, and picking up these puzzle pieces, and finally starting to see the puzzle make sense, and now I'm just rolling with it.
Just rolling.
We're rolling.
And she's rolling really well at it. So one of the things you said was you talked about social media, and I really want to touch on that. So how has social media really helped guide your business?
It's the fundamental portion. I mean, that's the only reason why I'm doing anything that I am. And weirdly, I hate talking about this because MLMs are so controversial, but I started with an MLM really in like 2014, and I was extremely broke, and this MLM company told me, if you figure out social media, you can make a ton of money. And I'm like, I'm gonna figure out all the social media. Because I was really broke, you know. I was like stealing food from work kind of broke. And right. I was willing to do literally anything to get out of that place. And so that was the first time where I really studied social media on a next level. And then I got tired of that company, and I moved on, and I started doing some like fun comedy skits just to kind of involve my acting that I did and keep performing, because I wasn't getting any acting jobs where I was. So I just went to social media. And then I started naturally showing my wedding stuff, and that's kind of like how we got here. It's a very recapped version of all
right.
that, but it is the fundamental.
That was a good, nice chunk, because I followed you from dancing, coordinating, like you've done all these things, and I've watched you. You even put out a children's book at one point.
I did, yes.
It was a good book too.
Thank you.
So for most of us, you know, we never expect for our content to explode, you know, but you seem to have found that secret sauce. So other photographers, videographers, everyone on TikTok, Reels, all that jazz, we want to know, What's
What the heck is
that
this
secret
sauce?
sauce? And you actually brought something with you. Why don't you go grab it real quick?
Okay.
Because she has a secret sauce.
Yeah, so the thing that I brought is my TikTok book. I actually wrote a book about this because I'm tired of people asking me this question. Please just go read the book. But if I had to recap it, and you can find it on Amazon. If I had to recap it into a couple things, it comes down to consistency, authenticity, innovation, and just a willing to adapt. So are you going to show up consistently? Are you going to show yourself authentically? Authentically.
You haven't had enough coffee this morning? That's clearly what I was.
Yeah, are you going to continue to provide something that other people aren't offering, as well as adapt to the constant changes that happen on social media?
And
it's always developing.
I think one of the things that I see often is people will start doing something for themselves, and they'll start trying to, I'm going to do this with social media, and they just stop. They'll put in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but it's not. Like, I've seen you grow, and it's been years in the making. It wasn't just an overnight thing. You were doing a bunch of different niches, and you eventually narrowed down to this wedding, but you put out content every day. And when she started doing that, you went from 1,000, 10,000 followers to what are you at now?
Oh my gosh.
She's like, she's close to 500,000.
Yeah, collectively with all my platforms, I'm pretty close to 1 million. And that's
wild.
Exciting.
So let's talk about the platforms.
Yeah.
Which platforms do you think provide currently, because it's always changing, the best return?
This is a really ridiculous
I know.
It's Facebook.
Really?
It's Facebook for me. And I know that Facebook is supposed to be deemed outdated, but for me, I have the most cult following. They are so loyal to me over there. They're amazing. I get the most brand deals through there. I get the most clientele from there. And I don't know why that is right now, because it was TikTok for a while, and then it was Instagram for a bit. I don't know why I'm reverting back to Facebook being the place, but I think maybe that's the place where I can write about myself, I can post pictures about myself, I can make videos. So it's kind of all inclusive, whereas TikTok, I can only make videos.
Right.
And I don't think people can see that I also write and that I also, do other things. So
for me, I've always been a big supporter of finding a platform where your ideal clients are at the most. And for people getting married, they're probably late 20s, 30s, 40s, and up. And most of those people are on Facebook, where our younger generation, they're on Snapchat, TikTok, and LinkedIn. But if you were going after something corporate, you'd want to be on LinkedIn. And that might be what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So let's switch gears real quick and talk about how you chose wedding photography, because you have a big focus in dance. Like, you were a huge dancer. When I first met Lynea, I was photographing her as a model and a dancer. So why did you end up with wedding photography and not dance when it's your specialty?
When it makes sense to do that.
Right.
So I have been dancing since I was 3. I still teach, I still perform. So it's been like 25 years of dancing. I do photography for dancers, and I don't know why it is that it doesn't bring me the same joy as it does weddings. And it might be just because I'm already familiar with it. I already know what to expect. And so dance is a passion for me physically, and I love creating movement, but I don't love taking pictures of it. And I think it's just because weddings, they always keep me on my toes. It's always a new couple, it's always a new location, new challenges, and I want to do new things a lot. And I think that that's really where I fit in the genre.
Okay. Mm-hmm. It wasn't partially because you were planning your wedding at the same time?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Which, by the way, was fantastic. So let's talk about your business and how you got to where you are. and your thoughts about working with companies that resell you, because last year, the year before, you were specifically working with a company that said, we have a photographer, you'll use her for this price, and you didn't negotiate any of that. So
Yeah.
do you think that other photographers, especially new photographers, should go that route, or is there some other better thing that maybe would work?
Yeah, I think that these companies are complex, and I both love it and I hate it, because as a new photographer, it put me in front of so many weddings. I mean, I was able to crank out at least 12 weddings as a brand new photographer in weddings, which, you know, part of me is like, if you're hiring these companies, be prepared that you're going to have a new photographer. But they had the leads, you know, I would have not had that opportunity if I didn't work with them. So I had an enormous amount of experience. However, I couldn't edit the photos. I wasn't able to share any of my galleries. It was not like it helped my portfolio very much. And they don't pay you that much.
Right.
So, I mean, as a new photographer, getting that experience and that exposure was extremely important. And I learned so much from it. But would I be doing it again? Probably not.
I mean, it took you to some crazy places, though. I mean, you shot at Adam Weitzman's house.
Yeah,
Like-
I know. And I like, what?
And it was a gorgeous house.
Yeah, and it's funny because you don't know where you're going to be that day. They just tell you, you show up, and you're like, wow, I'm at like $1 million wedding right now.
Which it was.
Yeah.
I thankfully was assisting on that
They
day.
had a welcome boat party.
They did. It was wild. So, what is the craziest thing that has happened to you at a wedding? And I think I know what the answer
Well,
is.
I'm going to start with getting rear-ended by the bridal party bus that completely wrecked my car during the middle of the wedding, right before the ceremony. Oh my gosh. Talk about like needing to bring your own professional composure. But arguably, I don't think that is the most crazy.
Really?
I don't, because I worked one wedding where the groom would not stop telling me how in love he was with his ex-wife. And it was the weirdest experience. I was like, why are you telling me this? I am recording your ceremony right now. He would not stop talking about it. It was the craziest thing. Even to the groomsmen, we were all like, oh no.
I hope they had a nuptial.
Prenup.
Yeah, nuptial. Whew! All right, let's change gears and talk about your editing workflow. How did you decide on your editing style, that jazz?
Gosh, you know, I still feel like I am figuring out my editing style. I still feel like a baby in the world, right? Like, we got 3 years under my belt, and I still feel like I'm figuring things out. But I have a difficulty with picking an editing style because I love all of them. I love Bright, I love moody, I love artistic. But with weddings specifically, I'm definitely leaning towards more neutrals and kind of high contrast. And I think just because I don't think weddings should be trendy photography, I think it should be kind of true to what it is. And that's kind of the direction I'm heading now.
So, editing software, what are you using?
Lightroom, Photoshop, you know, the usual.
Okay, just there's a couple different out there. Just want to double check. Yeah. So, as a photographer, but also a wedding coordinator who planned her own wedding, what is something that being a bride has taught you on the whole outlook of weddings in general?
Yeah, this is kind of a weird answer. It's not like a technical, fun answer, but it's brought me empathy. I specifically remember asking this guy that has been working in weddings for a million years, to give me advice. And he's like, well, same shit, different wedding. And that kind of struck me in such a weird way.
Right.
And I, after working my first year of weddings, I definitely understand how you could be that way, it could be really factory, you're doing the same poses, you're doing the same stuff, same timeline. And I could feel myself starting to feel that way until I had my wedding. And all people want is for you to appreciate the effort that they've put in that entire year. They just want to celebrate. They want to have fun. And they want time to really enjoy it and reflect. And so every time I go to work a wedding now, or every time I just go talk to a wedding planning client or anything, I place myself back in the mindset of this is not a repetitive thing. This is someone's deeply important day in life and journey that they've been on for like a whole year, sometimes more. And so just placing that bit of empathy and remembering that human component of what we're doing is totally changing.
I absolutely love that. So with so much on your plate, wedding planning, wedding photography, influencing, how do you keep it all together, and what tools and resources are you using to do so?
Well, I have to thank my husband, probably first and foremost, because he keeps my, big mind grounded always. He's the go-to support system. But I also have an amazing assistant who, as a control freak and firm grip on my business, I was so scared to hire. But I've learned that if I ask for help and I accept help from people who are also talented, my business has grown twice the size using my amazing assistant. And the software stuff that I've been using is Honeybook. Thank God for Honeybook, because that keeps my whole life organized, as well as Aisle Planner, which is a wedding planning consultant site.
Okay, That's awesome. That's so cool. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. That's the wrap of the Morning Cup, sponsored by Recess Coffee. But before we go, Lynea, how can people find you, find your work, and start following this journey of yours?
Yeah, any platform, really. I'm on everything as Lynea Daprix. I also have my Daprix photography website, daprixphotography.com. And theweddingtalk.com. So, you can pretty much find me everywhere. Just search the name.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
The Talking Camera Morning Cup, streaming on all platforms. Thank
Cheers.
you for being here. Have a nice day.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, it's morning.
Perfect.